Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. The race war continues in the mainstream media. Yesterday, I put out a video showing how the recent shooting reported of Terrence Crutcher in Tulsa, Oklahoma by the white police officer was a propaganda story by the numbers meant to provoke people that was a direct tribute to the May 31st, 1921 Tulsa race riots. Within 24 hours of that news story breaking, we're now being told about a similar shooting in Charlotte, North Carolina. The difference is this time they're saying the police officer responsible for the killing of the unarmed black man who was reading a book, they're saying the officer was also black. This is another deliberate hoax. This is more propaganda by the numbers. I'm going to show you what this shooting being reported in Charlotte has to do with the Tulsa shooting, and also what it has to do with the Philando Castile and Alton Sterling stories from July 6th of this year. In yesterday's video about Tulsa that I put out, I showed the parallels to Alton Sterling and Philando Castile. The same parallels exist in this story because all of this news media about the injustice shootings by police, they're part of an agenda. And the agenda is to militarize police, and it's trying to get ordinary citizens to act out who are provoked by this fake propaganda news. In case you're new here and you've never seen one of my videos before, this might seem bizarre to you, it might seem strange, it might seem crazy, but in fact it's the truth and what's really going on. The mainstream media is a weapon, it's here to divide us, it's here to terrorize us. We are ruled over by tyrants, they control the media, and they use the media for agenda. See the video I put out yesterday, I went into greater detail on this topic. So this morning on CNN, the headline was "Gun, but no book found." The family's saying he was reading a book when he was killed, the police are now saying they found a gun. And they're now saying that they found PCP in the vehicle in Tulsa, and we'll talk about that as well. This is all propaganda. So, this headline, "Gun but no book found," it has gematria of 73, like Tulsa, like Carolina. This is a number showing up in a lot of shootings right now. The word pulse equals 73. We had the Pulse nightclub shooting propaganda false flag by the numbers not long ago. The word united equals 73. We're the United States. They're trying to tear us apart right now. They're trying to divide us over race and many other things. These are the two front page stories this morning in CNN. The new shooting in Charlotte and then the new details about the shooting in Tulsa. And we'll talk about that. Let's focus on what just is coming out of Charlotte right now. Charlotte police shooting. Keith Lamont Scott was armed, police chief says. So, Charlotte, North Carolina in gematria sums to 106, the number of prophecy. And I was just talking about this in Tulsa. The Tulsa shooting happened on September 16th, the day that leaves 106 days left in the year, and the race riots in 1921 in Tulsa happened in the Greenwood district. Greenwood equals 106. North Carolina, South Carolina, they're no stranger to false flag shootings. There was the Walter Scott shooting on the 47-year anniversary of the death of Martin Luther King Jr. Then there was the Freddie Gray story in Baltimore. Then there was the Charleston church shooting. All of those stories were purposeful propaganda by the numbers, part of the race war. The Civil War in history began in Charleston. The first death recorded in the Civil War was in Baltimore when graycoats got in a conflict with protesters. Freddie Gray, graycoats, Baltimore. The first death in the Civil War was in Baltimore after it began in Charleston. I said a long time ago that they would acquit all those police officers and they would do it by the numbers of the Civil War. Remember that Civil War equals 43, Charleston equals 43. They acquitted all the police officers on a date with 43 numerology. All of these stories are tributes to history. It's by the numbers. It's meant to provoke. It's meant to divide. I can't emphasize it enough. In the Charleston church shooting, you can go back and watch my video, the fire truck that rolled up in front of the church that they had front and center on the camera all night was number 106. And it was flying a Tea Party flag. Tea Party equals 106. Fire truck number 106. 106 is the number of prophecy. The mad tyrants who rule this nation, who run the New World Order, the one world government, they run their order by the numbers from the book of prophecy, the book of Revelation. That's why this capital of this country, the original capital, Philadelphia, takes its name from Revelation in the Bible. We are living out an agenda that is centuries in the making. What's going on today is what's been going on in this world for hundreds of years, before the United States of America even existed. The Freemasons, the Zionist banker tyrants, they're who established this nation, they're who control your media, they're who control your government, they're who operate by these numerical codes. Charlotte in gematria sums to 39. The officer's name who killed this man, which we'll get to, sums to 39. 39 is the number of books in the Old Testament of the Bible, which Revelation, the book of prophecy, is based on. Revelation, the book of prophecy, is based on the 39 books of the Old Testament. Fitting that Charlotte, North Carolina equals 106 like prophecy, and Charlotte's 39. North Carolina itself has gematria of 67. Revelation, the book of prophecy, equals 67. Freemasonry, 67. Blood sacrifice, 67. 67 is corresponds with the date of the Philando Castile and Alton Sterling killing news. We'll get to it. 67, important number. So they said this man was reading a book, right? Book. Book equals 43, like Civil War, like Charleston. And here we are down in the Carolinas where the Civil War began. The Civil War president was Lincoln, born on February 12th, the 43rd day of the year. The current president is Barack Obama, the 44th president, but only the 43rd person to be president. That's because Grover Cleveland counted as 22 and 24, so the count's been off ever since 24. Obama's number 44, the 43rd person to be president, with ties to Lincoln, the Civil War president. Obama was elected November 4th, 2008, a date with 43 numerology. He gave his acceptance speech in Grant Park. Grant Park equals 43. Everything in this nation is rolled out by the numbers. All the presidents, all the fake news. This is a propaganda, agenda, war-driven nation. All it's ever been. That's why it began with the genocide and has been involved in war ever since. The day Lincoln died in history, April 15th, 1865, was a date with 102 numerology. It was also a date with 84 numerology. United States of America sums to 84 and 102, a war to save the nation. The Civil War began on April 12th, the 102nd day of the year in Charleston. Notice that Charlotte equals 102, so does slavery. Slavery, a major theme in the Civil War, which began on the 102nd day of the year. Every war in the history of this nation has been started and ended by the Freemasons, and they've all been by the numbers. Meaning that none of the wars in this nation have ever been needed. They've all been contrived for the sake of agenda, population control, making money for banks, enslaving people to lies, dividing people. The Freemasons believe in order out of chaos, which is what war is, and divide and conquer, another key component in war. The word Freemason and the word war have the same gematria. Same with the word history, not a question. As to why, the Freemasons have built this world around us. They've given us our language, our calendars, our history. We need to end Freemasonry. We need to end Zionism. We need to take the media from these tyrants. The media is only here to destroy us. It has no other purpose. The phrase reading a book in gematria sums to 102. This man was reading a book in Charlotte. They're trying to recreate the Civil War by the numbers, as I've been talking about for more than a year. The date of the shooting, September 20th, yesterday, the day that leaves 102 days left in the year. You know, for all of you who come here and say this stuff's a coincidence, it's just pathetic. If you think this is a coincidence, you are truly a fool. It's not a coincidence. This is how they operate every single day. Every single news story you've ever read in your life has been created this way because the news only reports on bogus propaganda by the numbers. Again, this has been going on for centuries. Centuries. If you doubt this is true, watch my How to Gematria video and then go apply the knowledge to any news story you've ever heard of. Any news story. They're all the same. So look at this. They talk about how this man was church going. They did the same thing in Tulsa yesterday. Talked about how the man who got killed went to church every week, was in school, had dreams. There was the Charleston church shooting. The reason they're using church is because church has gematria of 61. The word God in Jewish gematria equals 61. The Masons are playing God over our lives by lying to us with their media. The word miracle equals 61. God, church, miracle, all 61. The Civil War began in 1861. Barack Obama born in 1961, the same year they put up the Confederate flag in South Carolina, 100 years after. The name of the man who died, Keith Lamont Scott, 61. It's all Civil War tributes. His initials, KLS, in gematria sum to 42. Number stamped all over black people. Boy 42, Crutcher 42, who just got shot in Tulsa. Remember, Crutcher twins equals 181. 181 is the 42nd prime. Brothers 42, the most hateful word for black people, 42. Black History Month, the only month that sums to 42. 42 is also the number of the Freemasons. History equals 42. His story, the Freemasons believe in divide and conquer. Why they've coded this number into this divisive, hateful word. Let's read a little bit of the reporting here. Officers did not find a book where Keith Lamont Scott was shot Tuesday, Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Chief Kerr Putney said Wednesday. Scott's family had said he was reading a book in his car when he was shot. And notice he's in a car again. You know, 2 stories, similar details, car, church. Putney also said that while witnesses and evidence indicate Scott had a handgun when he was shot, Putney could not say for certain Wednesday whether Scott was pointing the gun at officers. It's because the whole story is just made up bullshit. He said the officer who shot Scott, Brentley Vinson, was not wearing a body camera. And that's also part of the agenda. You know, the man who supposedly died in the church shooting, Clementa C. Pinckney. The name Pinckney equals 43. It's a name that comes from the original governors of Carolina in the time of the Civil War. Pinckney 43, like Civil War, like Charleston. That Clementa C. Pinckney, just before he got shot, was saying police needed body cameras for these shootings, you know? It's all agenda. I'm sure Clementa C. Pinckney has disappeared and is living his new identity. Nobody died in that Charleston church shooting. Major hoax by the numbers. Go back and see my work on it. Based on witnesses and evidence found, Keith Lamont Scott, the man killed by Charlotte Mecklenburg police Tuesday, exited his car with a handgun before he was shot. Police Chief Kerr Putney said Wednesday. Okay, so anyway, Charlotte Mecklenburg, this has gematria of 213. This is the number that black people have been killed by again and again all throughout history. Black History Month equals 213. Hands Up Don't Shoot equals 213. I put out a lot of videos on 213 and the black men who've been killed by this number. The most famous of them is Tupac Shakur, who released his final studio album on February 13th, 2/13, and then died exactly 213 days later on September 13th, a date written 13/9. Tupac Shakur equals 139. Freemasonry equals 139. He was shot September 7th, a date that can be written 7/9. The word murder equals 79. In truth, I don't think Tupac Shakur was shot. I don't think he was really killed. I think he's one of many people to fake their deaths by the numbers and then disappear off into wherever these people disappear to. This year, his mother was reportedly found dead. That news broke on the day of the real Machiavelli's birthday. Tupac Shakur's final studio album was Machiavelli. Showed Tupac on the cross. The way he spelled Machiavelli had the same gematria as Jesus, the same gematria as cross. Go back and listen to all Tupac's albums. You know, So Many Tears. Even before All Eyes on Me, So Many Tears, he's talking about how he has to embrace an early death. Tupac Shakur told the whole world about 100 times over in his songs that he was going to die early and what to do once he was dead and gone. The Freemasons, they tell you what they're going to do before they do it. Almost all these celebrities, from Tupac Shakur to you name it, they're all connected through this Freemason network, selling us all out, deceiving us, manipulating us. You know, this past year, Kobe Bryant finished his NBA career with 60 points. Before the season began, Moses Malone dropped dead at age 60 in Philadelphia. Kobe from Philly. Moses Malone drafted out of high school to Utah. Kobe finished his career against Utah. 213 is the Los Angeles area code. And Kobe played that game exactly 213 days after Moses Malone died at age 60. Plus Black Mamba Day, sums to 213. That's what they were calling that day. There's so many sick jokes by the numbers going on. People need to wake up. You know, so many of you support all these things. You give your money, your energy to these record studios, to these sports leagues. These are the people that hate you, rule over you, lie to you every day. And what do? You give them your money, your time, your energy. You worship them. You go out and buy their jerseys and wear their name on your back. People need to wake up to what's going on. Everyone's worshiping the wrong things. February 13th, 213, that's the 44th day of the year. That's the kill number. Kill equals 44, shooting 44, officer 44. Again, Tupac Shakur's final studio album came out that day. This past year on February 13th, there were the big headlines about Antonin Scalia being found dead. That day is known as Lupercalia, February 13th, and Lupercalia equals 44. Calia, C-L-A-I-A, the way the word ends. Scalia, the same lettering in the name. He died on a ranch. Ranch equals 44. These numbers, pay attention to February 13th when it rolls around next year. It's always the same. There'll be another dead story on February 13th to shock the world. The name of the police chief speaking on this has gematria of 118, number connected to death, telling the story of how this man died. The day he was shot is also a date with 38 numerology. The word death also sums to 38. Tupac Shakur, the day he died, it was a date with 38 numerology. Notorious B.I.G., the day he died, was a date with 38 numerology. So many rappers have died by the number 38. The word death is 38. The word rapper is 38. In this case, the first name of the officer, Brentley, who killed him, supposedly, Brentley's 38. Brentley Vincent. And Vincent has that gematria of 39 like Charlotte, the number of books in the Old Testament. Brentley Vincent in gematria sums to 68 and 77. 68 is the year RFK and MLK were assassinated. It's the year World Trade Center construction began. It's the year 911 became the National Emergency Dialing Code. It's the year George W. Bush graduated from Yale and Skull and Bones. 77 is the number for police officer. His name equals 77 like police officer, like police department. This year on July 7th, 7-7, there was the shooting hoax in Dallas blamed on a Black Lives Matter protester, all part of the Blue Lives Matter agenda. If you missed my video yesterday on Tulsa, I'm going to link it in the description. I talk about that shooting, the Alton Sterling, the Philando Castile, the bill Blue Lives Matter. This is all information you need to know because it's all part of the same agenda. The name Brentley in simple English gematria sums to 101 like assassin. Again, this is the killer cop. Vincent, 93 the big way, like Saturn, like propaganda. Another number stamped on black people in a fateful way. Tuskegee, as in the syphilis experiment, equals 93. Malcolm X equals 93. Martin Luther King Jr. equals 93. Both men dead at age 39. The reflection of 93. Both men dead on dates with 44 numerology. Malcolm X's assassin got 44 years in prison, plus the name Thomas Hagen, who supposedly killed Malcolm X, equals 44. All through history, the same thing again and again. Them saying he had a handgun, you know, handgun happens to have gematria of 33 when you name it that way. And 33 is the number they code again and again into all these race war headlines. Race war 33, police 33, order 33, federal 33, masonry 33, secrecy 33. That said, a lot of people have handguns. But this is a bogus story, and aside from the police, I don't see how else they coded 33 into this one other than saying he was carrying a handgun. Typically, they say these people had no gun. The protest was quickly put together by Black Lives Matter. Remember, last year, George Soros gave $33 million to Black Lives Matter. Black Lives equals 33. The number of the race war, the hateful word for black people in South Africa, has gematria 33, with the K exception also 42. Number stamped all over black people throughout history. Remember, yesterday, the news was the man shot on the 16th. His birthday was the 16th the month before. When you write out 16, it has gematria of 33, with the S exception also 42. So now violent protests erupted overnight in Charlotte, North Carolina. And what did I say? They're going for a race war. They just had a shooting in Tulsa that was a tribute to the race riots. Now, next thing you know, there's a race riot in Charlotte, North Carolina, which has the 106 connection. You know, the prophecy connection that connects to the Tulsa shooting, that connects to the race riot race riots in the Greenwood district. I'll link this if you want to read the rest of the story. Real quick, here's what you need to know. Blue Lives Matter, the bill signed by police to protect police from threats, namely Black Lives Matter protesters. The first state to sign it was Louisiana, where Alton Sterling was supposedly killed, but that was a hoax, just like Philando Castile. And look at Philando Castile's uncle, who went in the media for a lot after the attack. Every time he was wearing his Freemason pin. All of these people are Freemasons selling us out. Anyway, the day the Blue Lives Matter bill was signed was May 26, 2016, the 147th day of the year. The word police in Jewish gematria equals 147. This is a bill to protect police. The date it was signed was a date with 67 numerology. Alton Sterling sums to 67. Philando Castile sums to 67. Blue Lives Matter sums to 67. Freemasonry 67. Blood sacrifice 67. The news came on July 6th of their killings, 7/6 or 6/7. The next day, the retaliatory shooting in Dallas on 7/7. That was the worst loss of life for a police department since September 11th. September 11th also equals 77 when written out as a word. So anyway, we got those two stories connected to the agenda on a date with 67 or 76. And look at these stories coming out of Oklahoma and North Carolina, Tulsa, and now Charlotte, 76-67. And look, I was just telling you about this yesterday before this was even a news story. You know, that's why I don't understand how I have any critics, because all of my videos, if you pay attention, the things I talk about, they show themselves in record time in the next news story. As I continue to say, all these news stories are a web. They're all connected. They're all part of an agenda. They're all run by the same gang. The people who have authority over us, who control our government, who control our media, who control our police, they're the Freemasons. This is how they operate. More details in the story. It happened at The Village. The Village has gematria of 101, like the name Brentley, like the name Assassin. The small way, The Village is 47, like authority, like framework, like foundation. 47, number of the Freemasons. Read about Euclid's 47th problem, how to establish a foundation. Same numbers, always coded. College Downs, also the location. Let's read exactly how they phrased it. Tuesday, and shot and killed a man in the parking lot of The Village at College Downs apartment complex in University City neighborhood. College Downs has gematria 53. The word shooting, gematria 44 and 53. You know? He died at Carolina Medical Center, which has gematria of 96, like Freemason. Freemasonry runs our hospitals too. It's why healthcare is so expensive and so bogus in this nation. Almost all of your hospitals have been started by the Freemasons. See the work I did on Ben Carson, the phony fraud running for president who supposedly separated conjoined twins at the head and their name was the Binder twins? It's just such a joke, people. The Binder twins. These people are making fun of us on so many levels. It's always the Freemasons. Here's your police looking like they're ready for war with their riot gear. So here's some Trump headlines this morning. Trump's weighing in on the Oklahoma shooting. Notice how they emphasize very troubled. Very troubled equals 59. The number stamped all over black people throughout history. It's all part of a sick joke. Donald Trump been fueling the race war. That's a big part of the reason Donald Trump is the Republican frontrunner. You know, just being crammed down our throats in the media because he's so divisive. And right now the media is working overtime to tear us all apart. Race, religion, sex, sexuality, political party. Other headlines today, now they say PCP was found in the car where the man called for help. You know, the man calls for help because his car breaks down and he ends up getting murdered. Completely ridiculous story. Anyway, the reason they're saying PCP is because PCP has the same gematria as conspiracy. Number coded into the story yesterday as I decoded. If you missed my work yesterday on the Tulsa shooting, I'll link it in the description, the video. It's all by the numbers, the same numbers as today. So check it out. The How to Gematria video is down there as well in the description if you want to learn how to apply this knowledge yourself. I'm telling you, the next time you see a news story that's one of these race wars, you apply the Gematria knowledge. You won't even need to watch my video. You'll see right through the propaganda in record time. All of these stories are made up by the numbers every single time without exception. If you heard it in the mainstream media, it's propaganda, it's a lie, it's not real. When police officers really kill people, which they do all the time, you never hear about it. Never makes the media. There's no justice. It's just silence. When you hear about it in the media, you know it's made up, it's fictitious. Until next time.